Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to 2023. Happy New Year everyone. Hopefully you've had a great Christmas, you're fitting well and you've been out getting amongst the fish, or you're looking forward to getting out amongst the fish. Today, join us in Northumberland. We're just south of Craster. We've got a bit more sea, a bit more roll and swell than what I was anticipating actually. I was down Druridge Bay earlier on this morning and there was next to nothing, but up here there's a rolling, very lazy rolling swell of probably 2 to 3 feet. I think it's because it's a bit of a sort of residual northeasterly. There's a fair bit of colour in the water. Conditions today for cod fishing, to be perfectly honest, aren't particularly fantastic. We've got the smallest tide of the Neap series of tides. They're starting to get bigger again tomorrow. Low water's at about 5 and it's a 1.97 ebb, so tide today is barely going to move, but it should make for easier fishing. And so the reason I've fished here is, well, the reason I've chosen to fish here is for 2 reasons mainly. It's deep, and when it's daylight like this, the more depth, the darker it is, the better. And secondly, this whole expanse here, for what little tide run there is, there probably will be a little bit of lateral left to right as the tide ebbs and flows. We've got Cullenose Point to the south of us. There's a couple of lads on there now. Up towards Craster, about another 400 or 500 yards away, I can see somebody else fishing. So I've got this little area to myself. As I say, these waves are quite big, so I'm going to have to position my rod tip quite high to get out the way of them, but it's probably a 20 to 25 degree gradient going straight down into the water, so because of that angle and you get your rod tip up, you can get, it's probably maybe 20 yards or so before your braid's actually in the water, so it'll be beyond the wave. So anyway, let's get set up and get down there. Down on the mark, just got set up. It's an absolutely cracking evening. It's 2:45, sun's going down, tide's ebbing, but it's going to get dark, so my chances have got to improve a little bit. To be honest, the objective of today is just to not blank, but in all honesty, I'm just enjoying being out here because it's the first time I've been out in probably 2.5 weeks over the Christmas season, and it's just great to get out. So it's the usual rig. I've got a 6-ounce gripper, rotten bottom, little rotter. I like to use imps. Does add expense to the rig, appreciate that, but it's just my personal preference. Business end, we've got a 4-0 Aberdeen Viking, 6-0 on the bottom. Just going to pull that up a little bit. We've got a bit of squid, a little bit of black, a little bit of carp. Rig, usual pulley. I've got an 80-pound rig body, power swivel, that's attached to a 50-pound amnesia snood, and then the pulley system, 2 beads, another power swivel. I like to use amnesia, I really like it. I think the abrasion resistance on it is absolutely great. There's it all set up, and you'll notice my rigs are probably about 5 feet, and they're rationale behind that is because, for two reasons. I'm using braid on my reel, and this particular part of the coast is very hard, solid rock that just drops away into deep water, but it's very ledgy. So braid, I do have a 90-pound thick leader on, but it's still braid at the end of the day. It's never going to have the same resistance, abrasion resistance, as mono. So I just think if I've got a slightly longer rig body, it'll just give us that opportunity just to give us a touch more abrasion resistance before it gets to me braid. And the other reason is, if you've got a longer hook length and you do get a little bit of damage next to the hooks because you've had a deep hooked fish, because cod do have teeth, you can just snip the hooks off, new hook on, and away you go. You don't need to change rig or anything because you've still got plenty of length. That's the rig, that's the bait. First cast of 2023, let's get it out there. Just see a bit of tide rip, just ripping off the end of colour nose there and coming straight out in front of us. There's a really clear slick where it's just coming, because it's ebbing this way, colour nose juts out, I don't know, 300 yards roughly, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, and the tide just sort of rips off the end. So I'm hoping that I'm in the lee of all of that water that's coming off that point, and if it is washing up any food or anything like that, any marauding fish that are down tide of it will swim up tide and hopefully swim into my bait. Just had a very small inquiry there. Very small rattle, but it was a bite. Bait's been in about 20 minutes. I'm going to reel in a second and get a fresh rig on. Oh, saying that. Yeah, there's a bit of movement there. It's not big, whatever it is, but there's something having a go. Just got a little bit of slack followed by another knock there. Very, very small if there is anything there. Now, I'm going to leave that for a couple more minutes while I get another rig baited up. Right, let's get this first one in. The tip of the rod has gone suspiciously solid, which is making us think that little rattle was a crab or a lobster, and he's crawled into a lair. No, it's all right. Bait's been completely robbed. Come on. Let's just hope there's a fish or two coming a bit closer as it starts to get dark. Right, this next bait, what I'm going to do, I've got a bit of squid, which I've taken the head off, taken the guts out of, cut in half, and I've got a lovely big lump of carp here. If you've ever used this stuff, you tend to find it's quite a mushy bait anyway, but you get a soft bit and then that back bit's slightly firmer. So I'm going to make two baits straight off. I'm just going to cut that wing in half like that, and the soft bit I'm going to push up against the squid, because that's actually quite tough and that'll last a bit longer than the mushy stuff once it's cast out and it's on the seabed. So I'm just going to lay it up like that, and I'm just going to bind it into a decent sized sausage. This is the one that I'm not going to cast out. What I will do when I mount it on the hook, I'll make sure the hooks are obviously fully in and secure, and I'll add a little bit more elastic to it if I need to. So I'm just going to make a lovely, I'd say probably medium sized bait. It's a bit, certainly on the larger side of small, if that makes sense, but it's nice and streamlined, so it'll cast reasonably well for the size of it. Up and down with the elastic. Around the fingers, back through, break it off. There's one nice squid and wing bait. Now, with the next one, what I'm going to do, same process. All I'm going to do with this, sort of similar, I'm just going to break that elastic first, almost similar to if you were using a sand eel bait, I suppose. So you can go in through the top, pull it through, and back out, and out through the bottom, and then you can just pull that tight like that. And what that enables you to do is you can use the top of the hook where the knot's tied as an anchor point to give yourself a good bit of binding around where that knot is and where the eye of the hook is. Obviously I'm going to put the top of the pennel in as well. Hooks are the usual if you're a regular watcher of the videos. Mustard, Vikings, really like these hooks. 4-0 on the top, 1, 2, 3. Get that nice and down like that. Pull that tight. 4 on the top, 6-0 on the bottom. It is heavy ground around here, but with good quality braid like I'm using, you will be able to bend these out. Let's get this other rig wound in. Let's see if we can get a fish. The gear I'm using today is the usual Aerotechnium. That's loaded with 55-pound ASSO braid. Absolutely love that stuff. It's never let us down. I find it really good. And that's got a long 90-pound, 80 or 90, I can't remember, fairly lengthy rubbing leader, also a braid leader. And that's attached with a 12-turn uni knot. The rod is slightly different than the usual custom HST Evo. This is also a custom rod, but it's a little bit shorter. This is an HST butt, and it's an HST Evo tip, so the whole rod's same length as a standard HST 13.3. But before Ziplex stopped trading last year, Lee very kindly made us up a bit of a custom rod. So we put together an Evo tip and an HST button. Absolutely love it. My other rod's 13.10, this is 13.3, and I've always quite liked rods around that sort of length. It's certainly not a heavy ground rod in terms of what a lot of northeast lads would use, or what they would class as a heavy rod, a T1000, 1200, WR300, Comp SS, that sort of thing. But it's a nice, oh, that was a decent bite. Too busy talking about rods. Well, sitting here waffling on about rods and I got an absolutely screaming bite. Something's having a go there. That's only been in 2 seconds as well. There's a couple of decent knocks there. Barely hit the deck, that. Just getting a little bit of slack line coming back, and as if it bites again. Yep, I can feel something rattling. Come on. Yep, something having a look. The bite definitely had the look of something with fins rather than claws. Yep, there's a bit of weight on. Let's It's not massive, but there's definitely something on here. Just hope it's well hooked, because there's a good old bit of wash down there. Oh, a few head shakes now. Come on, just got to ease it up a bit. Don't want to, yep, come on, in you come. Got to watch these rocks because they're very, very slippy. In you come, I've just got to try and get it in with this, with a wash. It's very easy to lose this from, come on, there's a few ledges down there, come on, in you come. I feel like I'm snagged on a bit of, another snag or a bit of rope or something. It's definitely a fish on though. It's annoying. Yep, it's knocking away there. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to give it some slack for 30 seconds or something. It's banging away like, I don't know what that is out there. It does not feel good though. Damn. This is probably going to be a lost fish, this. Very annoying. It's definitely on, but really peculiar feeling out there. My braid pulling into something else that's snagged. It's either a rope or another rig or another bit of braid or whatever. Banging like hell, that fish. It's obviously well hooked. It's just, there's something between the fish and me that I just can't seem to get through. My only options here to just give this a fair bit of slack, although I can't see that doing any good. Not based on what I can feel out there. It doesn't feel like the sort of snag a fish would swim out of. I'm gonna have to go far left or far right and pull from an angle and just hope that the direction I've chosen is the right one, i.e. pulling it away from whatever it is rather than into it further. Fish is on there, you can see it banging away. It's nodding away, swimming around out there. There's just something between me and the fish that I can't seem to get through. I'm gonna have one more pull at it and just hope I choose the right way. I've opted to come to the right. No logic or no reason behind that. It's either left or right, and the rocks here look a bit flatter for us to pull for a break, so I'm gonna try to misangle it a little bit more. Come on. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of rope or something. Right, this is it. Shit or bust. I'm going to be very annoyed if I lose more braid, because I lost quite a bit the last time I was out. Right, how's your luck for the new year? I'm going to find out very soon. I'm just wrapping the line around my forearm there because I don't want the pressure going onto me reel. Oh, something came there. Something moved. It's moving. Come on. Nah. Game over. I think I've lost. I've lost a lot of braid there as well. What a nightmare, eh? I'm gonna have to take a moment. One outcome is I'm stood here showing you a fish. The other outcome is I'm stood here having lost even more braid to the point where I'm not sure if I've got enough to fish with this reel, and lost the fish. Oh well. Good start to a new year, eh? Right. After that inconvenience and lost fish and snap braid and leader, I think I might just about have enough braid to keep us fishing with that reel. I've had to tie a new leader on, so obviously I'm going to move because there's definitely some sort of snag in front of us. I'm going to shift maybe 100 yards down that way. Excuse me. 100 yards down that way towards Craster. Have 2 casts and then I might call it because I don't want to be getting home too late tonight. So right, shifted along a bit, along and down actually, because tide has dropped a fair bit. It'll not be far off. Whoops, low water now. I have to be careful because there's quite a few barnacles on these rocks, but they're still fairly slippy, it has to be said. Right, bait wise, I've gone the same again. Squid and carp, wing. I have to be a little bit careful of me footing here because there's a fair bit of it is quite slippy. Slightly cautious of hitting that too hard in case I slip, because my feet weren't particularly stable there. Of course, as darkness descends, what it also brings with it is a reminder that I forgot to put my tip light on this rod. Took it off my other one, which stands repairing for us, and should have really put it on this one, but never mind, we're here now. Just had quite a decent bang there. Looks suspiciously like could be that of a crustacean. A few little taps, but could well be a lobster. Come on. Nah, nothing. Just had a really, really good bite there. Oh, come on. Just want to make sure I've got a firm footing in case I do need to strike. That was a really positive bite, that. This bait's been in about 20 minutes. It's the second bite I've had on it, so I'm going to give it a minute or two and then just check it anyway, because there'll not be a great deal left of it, especially if the lobster's been plucking away at it. That was a much better bite though. Right, I've had 2 bites on this one. Nah, nothing on that cast. I'm just going to get another squid and wing bait out there, and if I don't get anything this cast, that might be the end. Jesus, that water's cold. Right, unless I get a fish, this is going to be my last cast. So let's hopefully we can make it count. Right, I've had 1 bite on it, and then nothing. Nah, not a thing on that. Well, that's the end of the session. Hasn't been particularly prolific. I didn't expect it would be, to be perfectly honest. Very, very small tide. But I've really enjoyed getting out tonight. It's been the first session of the year. Couldn't have wished for a better day, weather-wise anyway. Barely a breath of wind, nice and cold and crisp. Proper winter's day. It's nice to get out and blow the cobwebs away for the first session. So hopefully everybody's either been out there and had some fish or is looking forward to getting out there. Just want to say again, thanks to everybody that supported the channel so far. It's really appreciated, and we've got plenty more to come over the coming calendar year, over 2023. Hopefully some decent fish thrown in there as well. So if you like what you see and you enjoy watching the channel, please do subscribe, it does help. Until next time, thanks for watching. Tight lines, keep fishing. We'll see you on the next one.